200 million people living under a severe weather warning at the moment. You've just touched on Buffalo, New York, 6 feet of snow. The death toll currently, it's sadly, in a horrible, grim fashion, it is increasing on an hour-by-hour basis. We've got 50 deaths attributed to the storm now, 46 in the US, and sadly 4 in British Columbia. This storm is stretching from Maine to Seattle, which is east coast to west coast in the north. It's stretching from the Canadian border down to the Mexican border with Texas. Florida is seeing its coldest Christmas since 1983. I think you've touched on already the impact of this sudden amount of snow falling in places like Buffalo, New York, just means the actual rescue vehicles, the first responders, can't even get to the vehicles if they could help anybody. You've got people trapped in cars. You've got furnaces blocked, causing death by carbon monoxide poisoning. It is cataclysmic.
We had President Biden in the White House warning people, to take this seriously. It's not just a snow day where you go out and enjoy yourselves. But it does seem that it's caught the authorities on the hop, but given, I think, hurricane-force winds in addition to the snow. So it was literally a blast across the continent.
Well, this is the thing that, as you called it, it's been called the bomb cyclone, bombogenesis. It's Storm Elliott, apparently. Mixed with the snowstorm. Either one of these two storms, either one of these two weather cycles would cause a problem. But when they combine, you do end up with snow falling very, very rapidly. So there is less time to prepare. There's significant impact on rescue services because they're just not used to 6 feet of snow being arrived in an hour or 2 hours overnight. It's almost impossible to deal with, even if it's predicted.
Now, I gather the worst of the weather has moved through, which is allowing the rescue and recovery teams to get up. But I guess this is the serious situation now where they're coming across people that, as you were saying, literally they're frozen to death in their own cars.
Yeah, there's some harrowing stories. I just read one from a guy who he'd been stranded in the car for 2 days with a 6-year-old child. Fortunately, he's safe and the child is safe, but he ended up with trying to keep the engine running for 2 days, and he just had to give up in the end because he just was about to run out of fuel, and he decided to make a break for it and try and actually walk with the child on his back. Nobody would expect that a country as developed as the United States would be able to have stranded drivers for up to 2 days and still no help being able to get to them. This is weather conditions that we haven't seen. Even if some of the stats we've just shared, some from 1983, and it's the worst in 5 decades, all these combined are looking like the worst storm ever in the United States. And so there are lots of precedents for individual circumstances or individual areas like Buffalo, New York, but so many arriving at exactly the same time. So like I said, you end up with 60% of the US population living under a severe weather warning right at this time is unprecedented.